Hello viewers, welcome again to example 4 on the addition and subtraction of said data I started with you in the previous videos. In the previous videos, we started learning about addition and subtraction of said, and we've done a detailed explanation on what it means to add and subtract said, and also we've solved many examples on it as well in the previous videos. And I hope you all understood it and you enjoyed the lesson as well. This is a continuation to solve another example with you for you to get a perfect understanding of it. So this is example 4. It means we've already done example 1, 2 and 3 in the previous videos, and I will advise that you do well to watch the previous videos because the previous videos lays the foundation, okay, the basic knowledge and understanding that you need on addition and subtraction of said. I've done all those explanations in the previous videos, so do well to watch all the videos that I've done on the said, okay, so that we can easily understand this one. As I said, this is just a continuation to solve another example with you, so do well to watch the previous videos so that handling this session can be easy for you. And please don't forget to like the videos and also share them after watching. And if you are watching for the first time, please do well to follow the page as well. Let's go ahead and handle the example 4 that I have on the board. So example 4, it says simplify square root of 27 minus square root of 12 minus square root of 75. Okay, so we have to simplify this one. Okay, so let me write my solution down and let's repeat the question. Okay, so we have square root of 27 minus square root of 12 minus square root of 75. Okay, so we have to simplify this one, and we've learned from the previous videos that we can only add and subtract like terms when it comes to addition and subtraction of said. Okay, we've done that in the previous videos. We've used it to solve a lot of questions, so I hope you remember. Okay, so we said that we can only add like terms and we can only subtract like terms when it comes to addition and subtraction of said. Okay, looking at the question we have here, there isn't any like terms to add or subtract. We have square root of 27 and also square root of 12 and also square root of 75. There isn't any like terms there to add or subtract. Okay, so what we have to do is that we need to simplify each term. Okay, so each term given in the question, we are going to simplify it using the simplification of said that I taught you. I've taught you simplification of said in the previous videos. Okay, so we are going to use that to simplify the square root of 27 and also simplify the square root of 12 and also the square root of 75. Then afterwards, you see that there will be like terms to group, then we can simplify further. Okay, so that's how to handle it. Okay, so we are going to use the simplification of said to simplify the square root of 27. I've taught you simplification of said. Okay, so if you don't have any knowledge on simplification of said, then it means you are going to struggle with this. Okay, so do well to watch the videos that I've done on the said, okay, from the beginning, so that you can understand all this thing. Okay, so let's go ahead, starting with the square root of 27. Okay, so the square root of 27, how to simplify it is that we are going to look for two numbers that can multiply to give back the 27. Okay, but those two numbers, one of it needs to be a perfect square. Okay, I'm going to repeat it one more time. We are going to look for two numbers that can multiply to give back the 27, but those two numbers, one of it needs to be a perfect square, and I've explained what a perfect square is to you in the previous videos. Okay, under the simplification of said, we've explained that. Okay, so the two numbers that come in mind will be 9 times 3. Okay, hope you agree with me. 9 times 3 gives 27, and the 9 is a perfect square, so we can use 9 times 3. So in place of the 27, we are going to put 9 times 3 there, or 3 times 9 is the same thing. Okay, so this, I'm going to repeat my square root sign, and the 27, I'll replace it with 9 times 3. Bring your minus sign, which is here. Then the square root of 12 also, we are going to simplify it. So we are going to look for two numbers that can multiply to give back the 12. but those two numbers, one of it needs to be a perfect square. Okay, so those two numbers that comes in mind will be 3 times 4. Okay, you know that 3 times 4 gives 12, and the 4 is a perfect square. Okay, so in place of the 12, we are going to write 4 times 3, or 3 times 4 is the same thing. Okay, so bring your square root sign, which is here. Then the 12, we are going to replace it with 4 times 3. Okay, please hope you agree with me up to this point. Then minus, because there is minus sign here. Then the square root of 75 also, we are going to simplify it. We are going to reduce it. Okay, so how do we simplify it? The same process. We are going to look for two numbers that can multiply to give back the 75, but those two numbers, one of it needs to be a perfect square. Okay, and those two numbers, the numbers that we can use will be 3 and 25. Okay, 3 times 25 gives 75. Hope you agree with me. And the 25 is a perfect square, so we can use it. Okay, so in place of the 75, we are going to replace it with 3 times 25, or 25 times 3. Okay, 25 times 3 gives 75, and the 25 is a perfect square. As I said, one of the numbers needs to be a perfect square. Okay, so in place of the 75, we are going to write 25 times 3, or 3 times 25. Okay, so minus square root of 25 times 3. Okay, now we have to simplify further. Okay, we know that the square root sign will affect everything down here. Okay, we've done that a lot in the previous videos. So the square root sign will affect the 9 and also affect the 3. So we can separate them by writing it as square root of 9 times square root of 3. Okay, and I hope you agree with me up to this point. Okay, very simple. The square root sign will affect everything down here. So the square root sign affects the 9 and also affects the 3. So you can write it as square root of 9 times, you bring your times, which is here, then square root of 3. Okay, so that's how to handle it. I hope the explanation is clear enough. Now let's go to this one as well. So bring your minus sign, which is here. Okay, so your minus sign is here. So bring your minus sign, and this one as well, the square root will affect everything down here. Okay, so the square root will affect the 4 and also affect the 3. So we can write it as square root of 4 times square root of 3, and I hope you agree with me up to this point. Okay, now let's continue. Bring your minus sign, which is here, and this one also, the square root sign will affect everything down here. So the square root sign will affect the 25 and also affect the 3. So it's going to be square root of 25 times square root of 3. Okay, so I hope you understand up to this point. Okay, now let's go ahead and simplify further. Okay, now the square root of 9, we know the answer. The square root of 9 is 3. So you bring your 3 times the square root of 3. You will not get a whole number as an answer for square root of 3. So all that we need to do is to repeat the square root of 3 back. Okay, so we are going to write our square root of 3. Okay, minus, bring your minus here. The square root of 4, we know the answer to be 2. Okay, so we are going to put our 2 there. Square root of 4 is 2 times square root of 3 here. Again, we don't have a whole number as an answer for square root of 3, so we just have to repeat the square root of 3 back. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the square root of 3, which is here, minus the square root of 25. We know the answer. Square root of 25 is 5. Okay, so write our 5 down. Okay, then times square root of 3. We are not going to get a whole number as an answer for square root of 3, so just repeat your square root of 3 back. Okay, so square root of 3. Now let's multiply 3 times root 3. It will give 3 root 3, and I've explained this a lot in the previous videos. Okay, so how the multiplication is done is that this 3 will multiply the coefficient of the root 3, which is here. Because there's no specified number here, the coefficient of this root 3 is 1. So 3 times the 1, 3. 3 times the root 3, it gives 3 root 3. Okay, so that's how you conduct the multiplication. Okay, then minus, you bring your minus sign, which is here, minus 2 times root 3. Okay, so repeat your minus sign. 2 times root 3, it gives 2 root 3. I hope you understand by now. Okay, now we come here also. Your minus sign is here, so bring your minus sign. 5 times root 3, it gives 5 root 3. Okay, so 5 root 3. So now you can see from here that we have like terms. Okay, so check very well. You can see that we have like terms. Okay, all of them are like terms because this one contains root 3, this also has root 3, and this also has root 3. Okay, so we can simplify them. As we said, we can only add and subtract like terms. Okay, so now that we have like terms, we can simplify further. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll do this first two. The answer we get, then we'll join it with the last one. We don't need to rush it. We take our time step by step. Okay, so let's start with this first two. I have 3 root 3 minus 2 root 3, and that is going to give root 3. And I hope you agree with me, because actually we deal with the coefficient as I've explained. Okay, it's 3 minus 2. The coefficient of this root 3 is 3, and the coefficient of this root 3 is minus 2. So look at it. 3 minus 2 gives 1. Okay, and when the coefficient is 1, we don't write it. Okay, that's why you write only root 3 there. Okay, so actually if you are getting confused, you can put your 1 there. It doesn't change anything. But we know that when the coefficient is 1, we don't write it. So yes, it's 3 minus 2 gives 1. Then you just pick one of your root 3 and attach it to it. So you get 1 root 3. But we don't, when the coefficient is 1, we don't write it. Okay, so you can just clean this one from there. But if you write it, it's not wrong, it's correct. Okay, so you have root 3. Then let's join it with this one. So root 3 minus 5 root 3. Okay, so let's simplify further. Okay, and that is going to give me, please hope you are following. Okay, so root 3 minus 5 root 3. The coefficient of this root 3 is 1. Okay, please hope you agree with me. Watch it very well. The coefficient of this root 3 is 1. So you know that we deal with the coefficient. Okay, then we just pick one of the root 3 and attach it to it. So it's going to be 1 minus 5. 1 minus 5 gives negative 4. Okay, 1 minus 5 gives negative 4. Okay, so I'm going to write negative 4 root 3. Please hope the explanation is clear. So the final answer is going to be negative 4 root 3. And this is your final answer for simplifying the question on the board. Okay, which is square root of 27 minus square root of 12 minus square root of 75. Okay, if you type all of these things on the calculator will give you a straight answer, which is minus 4 root 3. And this is the process to go through to arrive at the answer. Okay, I hope the explanation was clear enough and you understood it as well. Please don't forget to like the video and also share the video. I'll see you again in another video whilst we solve other questions under the SURD. Bye bye.